Okay, I'm back, Biff. Let me know when John's there.
And used for other projects. For a look at state news anytime, visit ONNradio.com. I'm Daniel Barnett on the Ohio News Network.
Calls and conversations continue in less than 3 minutes as the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe continues after this.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Toyotathon is on, making now the best time to reserve one of the all-new additions to the 22 Toyota lineup, like the first ever Corolla Cross, with available all-wheel drive and more space and efficiency than ever, or the all-new redesigned Tundra with uncompromising full-size power. Visit your Toyota dealer today or go online to buyatoyota.com, the official website for deals. But hurry, Toyotathon ends January 3rd. Toyota, let's go places.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I love living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I love living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
Highland Sports Complex is the coolest destination for sports and entertainment the Ohio Valley has ever seen. Pop in for some open basketball in our field house or reserve some turf time for your next practice or game on our synthetic fields. Online registration is open for development classes and leagues for youth and adults. Highland Sports is also the hottest destination for birthday parties and other events. So come challenge yourself on our play climb and enjoy your favorite virtual reality game in the arcade. No memberships required, so visit highlandsports.com to find your next entertainment experience and get ready to reach new heights.
Menards has the tools you need to complete your projects. Known for innovative designs and affordable prices, Works provides the power and ease you need to get the job done right. The 20-volt 2-in-1 brad nailer and stapler is a must-have tool for every household. It's great for a variety of fastening tasks. Only $139.99 after rebate. Prices good through December 24th. Plus, give the perfect gift with a Menards gift card.
Warm season's greetings to you all from Menards.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Hello, everyone, from the Watchdog. I'm the Storm Tracker, Darnell Foster, with a look at your local weather forecast for your Friday. Mostly cloudy, cooler with a high near 50 degrees. Showers likely for the overnight with an overnight low of 40 degrees. Showers on and off for your Saturday with highs in the lower 50s. Have yourself a great day, everyone. From the Watchdog, I'm Darnell Foster.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
What are you wearing?
What are you wearing? It's my Christmas sweater.
It's ugly.
So ugly.
Yeah, so much.
Yeah, I know.
It is that time of year again.
Why isn't anyone wearing a Christmas sweater? It is National Christmas Sweater Day.
No way. That person is wearing an ugly Christmas sweater.
Keep that ugly sweater on. Today is National Ugly Christmas Sweater Day.
It's showtime, baby.
We're jingling your bells all holiday long. This is the Watchdog Morning Show with Howard Monroe, FM 98.1 and 97.7.
If I had known it was Christmas sweater day, Biff, I would have dragged one of my Christmas sweaters out of the closet and put it on. I haven't worn a Christmas sweater for a very long time. Let me double check. I think it still fit. I'm not sure. I bulge out a little bit. But if I'd known it was Christmas sweater day, I might have worn my Christmas sweater. 35 degrees, Wheeling, Ohio County Airport, 34 at the home studio here in the Elm Grove section of Wheeling, and 35 at the Robinson Auto Group Studios downtown Wheeling in the heart of the Ohio Valley. Might still see a little bit of sun outside. Going to be sunny for a part of the morning, then clouds will come in during the day. Daytime high 48, rain coming in probably evening time, not afternoon, but evening time. Stay with us during the day. Showers all day long tomorrow. 48 the high today, a lot different than the record high that we had yesterday, which was 64. Previous record had been 63. I've been asking you for your thoughts about your favorite Christmas movie. We've had a lot of suggestions so far. White Christmas, Home Alone, Christmas Story, Miracle on 34th Street, Elf. I don't like Elf. Scrooged with Bill Murray was suggested off our text line at 304-214-1600. Let's see, what else do we have here? The Muppet Christmas Carol. Okay. A couple more have just come in off the text line, might be interesting to you. I think some of these are good. The Santa Claus, Tim Allen movie. I think you said one day, if anything with Tim Allen, right?
Oh, anything with Tim Allen in it is going to be funny.
He did a great job with that Santa Claus movie. The concept that the Santa Claus character can be passed along from person to person, depending on who gets the hat. And the Santa Claus, in this case, is a clause. You get a little contract that says you are now Santa Claus. So he begins to grow a beard and get big, even though he doesn't want to, and he becomes Santa. I love that. I think it's a great movie. I mean, it's not Casablanca, don't get me wrong, but it's a really good Christmas movie. Let's see, what else is here off the text line? Bad Santa. That's with Billy Bob Thornton. I don't like those kind of movies that make Santa out to be a bad guy. I guess I'm like Teddy that way, you know. I don't like the bad ones. The Polar Express with Tom Hanks, one of the texts on favorite Christmas movies. That's good. And Jingle All the Way. That's the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he wants a special toy for his son for Christmas, and he fights to find it and goes from store to store. It's in slow demand, and then there's only one of them in the entire city. And it's a fun movie, especially if you've ever done that as a parent. Tried to find that one last toy that's left that your kid wants. So, and then the one that I never heard of before, and if any of you know this, then please tell me what it is. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. It is listed as one of the favorite Christmas movies on a Reddit site. I can't believe that. I'll share, I'll just bring John McCabe in right now, and I'll talk about this next item here. John McCabe is here with me, the editor of the local newspapers. John, good morning, sir.
Howard, good morning. How are you?
Let me check. I think I'm all right. You're driving this morning?
I am driving, yes. Enjoying the flatness of Western Ohio, Northwest Ohio, and seen about 6 times in the last couple of days that we just don't see all that much in our area anymore, and that's trains. Trains hauling goods. We don't kind of a shame that Wheeling doesn't have any train traffic at all any longer, and you just miss seeing that. And so, but no, even just a minute ago, went through an area where they've got a big station, and just one train was probably 100+ cars long that you could see stretched out and toward the horizon, and that's just something that we don't see a whole lot in our region anymore.
No, and I love trains. I'm a big train fan. I love seeing trains. I love watching trains going. I love to ride in trains when I can. Don't do it very often, but I've taken a few train rides. Just this past year, we did a Rocky Mountain Express out west. I miss the trains. I'm with you. It's a shame we don't have them around here anymore, and probably never come back because we've pulled up the tracks and covered them over too.
When you were a kid, did you ever ride the rails around Wheeling at all?
Not in that sense. No, not
No.
Never like a hobo.
No. But even like jumping on and going from one part of town to another, anything like that?
No, never did that. There used to be a train at Christmas time that would go from what's now, of course, the community college. That used to be the B&O train station. And it would drive, you could get on at Christmas time and go from the B&O station to New Martinsville. And it was like a Christmas ride. And I think Santa was on, I can't remember. But I did that a couple of times when I was a kid. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, most certainly. Have you ever taken Teddy to any of the Polar Express trains?
No, it's something we've talked about over and over again. When they lived in Frederick, there were several just tourist train rides that would, like a 2-hour ride around the area and stuff. And no, we have never done that. And I wish we would. I thought about the Polar Express this year. We never got around to it. I think he would get a kick out of it. I think he would enjoy it.
Yeah, we did that with all of our kids and really had a great time. The one in Denison is a pretty easy drive, right outside of Tappan Lake area, and it's just a nice fun thing for kids. And they bring a really good Santa Claus onto the train, and a Mrs. Claus, and a Grinch, and and the neighborhoods around where those tracks are up in Denison, Ohio, really play it up, and have everything decorated in the Santa's workshop. It's really just a really nice thing to do, and I know our kids always enjoyed it, and so did we.
I have some friends that took I guess still do, she's really older now, but took their granddaughter to that Denison Polar Express every year. So it was a tradition, and they did it. I think she maybe is getting a little bit old for it, but they still do it because it's tradition. And they tell me great things about it. So maybe next year. We have not done that with Teddy. And every year I also talk about maybe just going down and doing one of the tourist train rides in West Virginia. Nancy and I have done a couple of those, but I think Teddy might enjoy that too.
Yeah, the Cash is always great. The Taggart Flyer in Elkins is always great. There's a lot of really fun things to do, and I think for kids, it's just trains hold a sort of wonderment, and especially the old big, when you got smoke going out of the engine, it's just a special thing.
Nancy and I have gone several times to the Potomac Eagle over in the Eastern Panhandle, which is a great little, I think, a 3-hour ride. You can look through there. It goes down through an eagle valley, and there are eagles there. And it's a great train ride, little lunch provided. I always pay attention when the lunches are provided, of course. But we've done that a couple times, and it's just a nice little. You can make it a day trip if you wanted to. We used to stay every night, but it's just a short, 3-hour train ride. It's very nice. So yeah, no, I'm with you. I miss the trains. I miss seeing them. Every time I go over a train track, there's still some active tracks around here. The one in Bridgeport, right at the end of Wheeling Island, for example. And the trains still do occasionally go through there. I keep hoping I'll see one just for the heck of it. It's like, hey, I'll see a train come by. So I'm with you. You mentioned Grinch a minute ago, John, and I don't know if you got one of these in the mail or not. And I have not. This was sent to me. I did not get this, but apparently Alex Mooney is sending out a flyer. Have you seen this, a mailer?
I have not.
With the Grinch on.
Try not to laugh.
I was sent a picture. I was sent a picture of this. It's was sent out by the Mooney campaign, and it's Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden. They're all green with their red suits on. They are the Grinches, right? Okay, they're all Grinched up, with a little kid saying, "Mommy, why is Dave McKinley helping the Grinches?"
gracious. I mean, it's going to be, I tell you, Howard, these next 6 months are going to be brutal in terms of the negativity of this campaign. I do believe it's going to be a really tough thing to stomach, and I think we will all have pretty serious election fatigue by the time May rolls around.
Mooney has begun, and we talked about this with your reporter, Stephen Adams, I think yesterday, or the day before. Mooney has already started running a lot of really, I guess I'll call them nasty, maybe at least call them aggressive, but I think they're really nasty negative ads already in this local area on television. Basically, calling McKinley a rhino, implying he helps the liberal agenda and so on. I mean, this is going to be a nasty, nasty campaign.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is Mooney has got a lot of money, has already started to spend it, and McKinley, who has about, at least right now, has about a quarter of in his campaign war chest of what Mooney does. McKinley's got, I think it's around 600,000, and Mooney's about 2.2 million. But David McKinley wasted no time after redistricting kind of was showing up and going directly into the Eastern Panhandle, over to the Martinsburg area, talking with, stakeholders and residents, probably buying his own lunch too, which is even more important, not using campaign funds to buy lunch in the Eastern Panhandle. That's a whole different story, but, but going head on, and Mooney's, at least initial salvo in response to that is, again, a couple 30-second spots that, have that sinister look to them and make, Dave McKinley look like, the picture's kind of fuzzy and the background's dark and, so, and again, as you said, calling him a rhino, Republican in name only. So, filing season doesn't start until next month, and here's where we're at already.
Do you think, I'm curious as a political observer, do you think McKinley will use the ethics issue against Mooney?
That's a good question. I would like to say no, but I think, it might not be McKinley directly. It could be, surrogates. It could be PACs. It could be outside groups who support McKinley. I think it will be a part of the race. I don't know necessarily if it will be a David McKinley platform issue against Alex Mooney, if that makes sense.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm not sure either. I talked to Mooney about it. Did he think it was a fair issue to bring up? And he kind of dodged the answer to that. He really didn't get a firm answer about that, whether he thinks it's a good issue it's a fair issue for McKinley to bring up. I certainly think it's a fair issue. He's under investigation is quite the right word, but they're looking into ethics charges. I think they're serious. I mean, he claims that whenever he goes out and has lunch at Chick-fil-A, if there's a constituent there, it becomes a campaign expense. I've used the example, it'd be like me going into the West Sports Bar for lunch and say, well, you know what, there might be a listener here, so I think I'll deduct this on my income taxes. I mean, it just doesn't
It
just doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree. It's easy to say, I think that, I'm no ethics investigator for Congress, but it feels somewhat fishy in some ways as I understand it and had read it, because of just what you said. When you and I go to lunch, we don't expense it simply because we're going to lunch as friends. We may talk about work, but we don't. It's never crossed my mind to think, well, I can deduct that because we talked about work for 5 minutes. There are lines you have to draw there. And if you want to have an event at the local Hardee's for the coffee clubs and attribute that to your team, okay, fine. That probably is a legitimate expense. But just saying, well, I'm doing this because I might run into a constituent, that's a pretty broad way of thinking.
Yeah, I agree. And or going on a fishing trip with your son, and somehow say, I might bump into someone, so I bought the fishing pole. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But I think you may be right. McKinley may not be the one to bring those issues up, but third-party groups might. One of the things I think, and again, Steve and I talked about this yesterday, one of the things that we've got to remember, McKinley hasn't had a fight for a long time.
He hasn't. I was, talking about that earlier this week. This seat in the second district, the prior first district, since the last ethically challenged congressman, and that would be Alan Mollahan, got beat in the primary by Michael Oliverio, and then we had a McKinley-Oliverio matchup in the general back in, 2010, I believe, and that race was decided by, decimal points of a percent. I mean, I think it was right around 1,000, maybe 2,000 votes. It was a really close race. Since then, though, David McKinley has won every race in the 20 to the high 30s. Glenn Gaynor, Sue Thorne, and Kendra Forshey, Chris Wakem. Yeah, he's just had absolutely no issues in winning re-election. Actually, Chris Wakem was back when Mollahan was still in Howard.
I'm sorry, you're right. It was Mollahan. You're right. I apologize.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, but Dave McKinley has, I think, I've not averaged it, but I would say his average margin of victory since that Oliverio race is probably close to 25, 30%, which that's a pretty significant number in an election. That's winning 62-37, that type of a margin. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles a tough campaign.
In a sense, it says he has a lot of support, but the flip side of that is he's, his fighting muscles may be a little loose right now. He has not had a need to go out and really. In fact, the last couple of elections, he hasn't even mentioned his opponent's name. He hasn't done anything. He just felt, I'm going to walk to victory, and that's the end of it. And he was right. And
what makes this one even more challenging is this is a primary, and this is a primary at a time when the litmus test in the Republican Party, in a lot of ways, is to show who is more Trumpian, who can be more like Trump. That's what this is going to, in many ways, boil down to. Who votes more with Trump, who acts more like Trump, who's endorsed by Trump. Areas like Wood County, which is in the second, in this district. Wood County is a very conservative area. David McKinley has won, huge margins in Wood County. Glenn Gaynor, who a longtime, political family in West Virginia from Wood County, and, granted, Glenn didn't do much, but McKinley trounced him in his home county. So when you look at that, in Wood County, a former, safehold and stronghold for David McKinley, now how much does Alex Mooney siphon out of that, because he's billing himself as being the true, far-right conservative in this race, as opposed to the moderate Republican who's bipartisan and who supported better roads in West Virginia. So it's really going to be a fascinating race in so many ways.
Mooney is centering, of course, on the infrastructure vote. McKinley, who absolutely defends it and doesn't run away from that vote, feels he's helped the state, and I would agree with that the state needed roads, bridges, broadband, and the money was going to come to the state for a good purpose. He doesn't shy away from that, but I have noticed that McKinley, in his tweets and other things, have tried to be more, what's the word I'm using? He's really finding himself pushing hard on his conservative positions other than that one. And Mooney, of course, just keeps pushing that one. It's going to be really, really interesting. And we'll talk about it a lot more.
The latest one, if you saw, is 538 has been tracking Republicans' voting record with Trump, and McKinley, again, smart thing to do, has been touting that his voting record, with Trump-supported ideals and initiatives in legislation, is higher than Mooney's. McKinley was like 92.3%. Right. Mooney was about 87%. So again, fascinating times when when this is the issue Republicans are dealing with in 2022.
John, I want to do a break. When we come back, I want to do some local conversation, including a story in your paper this morning. The Ohio County Development Authority has had to rectify, is the word you guys use, a lease arrangement that was created by former county administrator Greg Stewart, apparently without authorization. It's an interesting story. I want to talk about that. Plus that city-county gathering last week. How did that go? A couple other issues that we'll get into on the local scene in just a couple of minutes. John McCabe is here with me. He's the editor of the local newspapers, and it is 9:30. We're heading to the news desk of Metro News right now.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News. I'm increases for state workers insured through PEIA will not happen in the next 2 years, but he asks what happens after that.
I believe the governor, and I know the governor will put the money in for the following year. There's no question in my mind for that. I do have concerns after this governor leaves office because we are facing a deficit in the future.
On Thursday, the PEIA Finance Board approved a plan for the 2023 fiscal year that includes no change in premiums for state workers. There is a proposed 5% increase for non-state employees. A Putnam County woman charged in connection with storming the U.S. Capitol on January 6th will learn her fate when she's sentenced in federal court this hour. 24-year-old Grayson Courtwright of Hurricane faces 6 months in prison. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. The Salvation Army in Charleston says donations in this year's kettle drive are lagging behind compared to this time last year. Major Joseph May says they've had to deal with several setbacks.
We don't have as many bell ringers as we did last year. We lost a few locations this year. The mall's not letting us ring bells there this year. So there's just a lot of flux and a lot of uncertainty this year.
May says the kettle drive helps generate funds year-round, not just at Christmas. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Carrie Hudasek.
NFL, Thursday night action, a good one. Kansas City beat the LA Chargers in overtime, 34-28. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes hit his favorite target, Travis Kelce, for a 34-yard TD. Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes.
I don't think I've ever been a part of a walk-off touchdown or anything like that. And so to be in that moment, find him underneath and him making such a dynamic play where, I mean, he cut back, ran by people.
Kansas City improves to 10-4. The Chargers, with a disappointing loss, dropped to 8-6. This is LA quarterback Justin Herbert.
There's so much for us to learn, and so many things that we could have fixed out there on the field. Unfortunately, we fell short, but it's one of those opportunities of we're going to learn and we're going to have to get better, and we're just thankful to be playing football still.
How about these numbers? 32 teams in the NFL, 26 teams are either in a playoff spot or within one game of playing in the postseason. And 24 teams have 6 victories, including the Pittsburgh Steelers, who will host the Tennessee Titans Sunday in Heinz Field. This is Cam Hayward. He's a defensive captain of that Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
These 4 games are show me how much you want it, and let's see where we fall out in this.
Big news in college football. Pitt All-American quarterback Kenny Pickett will not play in the Peach Bowl. Kenny's preparing for the National Football League draft, but he will play in front of NFL scouts in the Senior Bowl. Final 4 in women's volleyball. Division I, Pitt loses to Nebraska. This is head coach at Pitt, Dan Fisher.
It stings because we feel like we could have played a little bit better. But what hasn't stung at all is spending time with this group all year.
Nebraska will now play Wisconsin in the championship game. The Penguins, they're in action tonight. They will host the Buffalo Sabres. I'm Bill DeFabio on sports, and we are the Watchdog.
Introducing our new redesigned 7 News app. Our new app features a sleek, modern design, an easy-to-navigate home screen with quick access to local news content, and a localized weather forecast. Subscribing to notifications is easier, and with one tap, you have access to recent push notifications. There are more ways to watch and find video. To get the new WTRF 7 News app, just update the latest version or download the WTRF 7 News app in your Apple or Google Play Store by searching WTRF.
Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands is the perfect place to relax after a long day. Happy hour from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Get $2 off appetizers, $3 off domestic drafts, and house wine specials. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA. Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands with another steal of a deal. Get a steak burger and fries all day Monday for only $8.99. It's also Military Mondays. The Lube will take 25% off for all veterans, active duty military, and first responders. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA.
Hey, I'm going to the kitchen. Can I grab you a Coors Light?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Huh. I never knew there was a zip line in my fridge. Hey! Hey, buddy! Yeah! You got 2 Coors Lights up there?
You got it! Always brewed down to 34 degrees. With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go, 2 Coors Lights.
Awesome, man. Wow, these are really cold.
That's the only way I deliver it.
Sure, I mean, you being a mountain climber and all.
Yep.
You probably need a pretty warm coat in there, huh?
Yep.
Hey, Ben!
Yeah!
Ask him if he has any nachos.
You got any nachos in there?
No.
Just icy cold Coors Light?
Yep.
That makes sense. It is the Rockies.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
The Watchdog Network wants you to take time for yourself and your family this season and enjoy some of the events around our valley. Once again, some of your favorite Strand Theater performers are joining together for an evening of holiday music and cheer. The Strand Theater Christmas Cabaret will take place December 17th at 7 p.m. Sit back and relax to a slew of holiday selections, classic and new. Admission is $10, wine available by donation. More info at strandtheaterwv.com. And happy holidays from the Watchdog.
Toyotathon is on, making now the best time to reserve one of the all-new additions to the 22 Toyota lineup, like the first ever Corolla Cross, with available all-wheel drive and more space and efficiency than ever, or the all-new redesigned Tundra with uncompromising full-size power. Visit your Toyota dealer today or go online to buyatoyota.com, the official website for deals. But hurry, Toyotathon ends January 3rd. Toyota, let's go places.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This concludes this test of the emergency alert system. If this had been an actual emergency, you would have been told where to tune for news and official information. WKKX serves the Wheeling operational area.
This is MSN, the Mountaineer Sports Network.
A 3, call the Star City Fire Department.
Catch all the action.
Another steal, takes it to the bucket. Slam, dunk.
All season long.
He rainbowed in a 3-pointer. Takes the ball toward the basket, pulls up for a jumper in the wind. It is no good. West Virginia wins it.
On your home for Mountaineer basketball.
Here's a look at the Ohio Valley local news week in review with newspaper editor John McCabe and Howard Monroe.
(9:38), 22 till the hour, right around 34 degrees. A little bit of sun still outside right now. Clouds will come in later as the day goes on. John McCabe here with me. John, story in the morning intel today may shed some light on something you and I had talked about frequently several months back, and that was when Greg Stewart, the former county administrator for the Ohio County Development Authority and Ohio County Commission, had resigned, hoping to get a consulting contract to continue running the Highlands. Then things got a little bit confusing, and eventually the whole thing was just dropped. Stewart is gone. New county administrator is in, and story in the paper this morning may shed some light on what some of the concerns were.
Yeah, the public's been, I think, waiting, since January, February, March area, since when all this unveiled. 8, 9 months for kind of the closing of this chapter as to why the Development Authority chose not to, hire Greg Stewart and then chose to rescind that hiring and move in a different direction. As we outlined in our story today, which came from the OCDA meeting last night. There were some. There's a big. If you go back toward Menards, back in that area of the development, you can see like a big slag pile, and what that is are pieces of the bridge decking from the I-70 Bridges project. As they, tear those pieces up, they've been taking them up to this spot at the Highlands and storing them there for some reason. Either I think maybe one of the commissioners might have said they thought maybe they were going to try to use it for some base fill for that second interchange for the Highlands. Maybe it was the thinking behind it at one point. The problem with it in a couple of different ways was simply that the property where they're being stored up until pretty much now had been owned by the state of West Virginia, the West Virginia Economic Development Authority. And what was said last night is that Greg Stewart, as the former county administrator, had entered into this deal with Swank, put these things on property that the county didn't own, and that of course leads to other issues.
So the county and I encourage people to read the story because I don't say it's complicated, but there's a lot of numbers involved and sort of what the game plan was, using that the slag for something else, and who was paying rent to who for what period of time. So all the details are in the story. Right. But the essential argument here is that Greg Stewart entered into a contract with the Swank people under the pretense that the OCDA owned that property when in point of fact they didn't. That's the bottom line. I think that's the bottom line.
Yeah, and Swank also hadn't been paying Swank also had not been paying rent. Now they've been putting money aside, but they essentially hadn't been billed for be able to store.
Swank says they never got a signed lease agreement, so they were living up to the terms of payment, but they're only putting it into an escrow account, not sending it off to the county. I believe I have that correct.
Yeah, that is correct. Yes.
The WVEDA has now said, look, this isn't going to go on. It's our property, and we got to resolve this. We expect you to basically buy the property from us now, which is what the OCDA, Ohio County Development Authority, did last night. They agreed to pay $1.5 million, I think, to purchase that property from the WVEDA. I want to say purchase it back, but it never left. It was always WVEDA property.
No, that's incorrect. That's somewhat incorrect. Bought that property back in 2008 when, you remember when the Highlands kind of was on, I'm saying it's on the verge of collapse is incorrect, but remember they got into a real financial pickle during when the economy fell apart and with the housing bubble and back in 2008 and the Great Recession hit. The state purchased, my understanding is the state purchased the property then as a way to, with always the intention possibly being the county would buy it back. But that's kind of how that deal has worked. Again, that's been several administrations back now. But, my understanding has always been when the state bought that, they bought it and never intended to keep it long term.
So, okay, so I'll modify my comment. The OCDA has not owned that property for a while. But,
at least a decade, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, I'll modify my comments there. But now the WVEDA says, look, you got to buy it back. So they're going to buy that property back, and there's some other financial things that have to go on because there were different kinds of payments, both in terms of the slag being used and everything else. So that's the sort of first bottom line. The other bottom line is, and I have been hearing this before, Greg Stewart did all of this without the knowledge of or oversight of the Ohio County Development Authority. He was acting on his own, basically.
Yeah, I don't know how much I can speak to that. I've heard that and going through. What I can say. I've known Greg Stewart for 25 years. Greg worked really hard and gave his entire being to developing the Highlands for 2 decades. And so I don't think so my point with that is I don't think there was anything nefarious. I don't think he did anything to benefit himself. I think he was trying, and part of the things that happened back in 2008 are kind of fall in that same realm, is trying to make sure the Highlands remain successful, but maybe and again, judging by what's happening now, maybe taking some shortcuts along the way that he probably shouldn't have. And I'm just basing that off what we've reported today. So I don't. The key here is that the accountability we've been asking for now for almost a year has happened, and we have the story now. And we understand why that his contract was rescinded after it was awarded, and all of the things that have gone into this. And it's important for the public to understand why this happened, and it's important for the public to understand that the commissioners currently in office, Randy Wharton, Don Nickerson, and Zach Abraham, are trying to do things differently possibly than they were in the past. They're being more open. They're being more forthright with how things are done. They're meeting with the city now. Another big development last week. These things that have been, sources of contention for some time seem to be going away from that direction. So that's kind of where I want to start. But on the other hand, again, this deal was done, without at least the specific knowledge of, some of the commissioners currently in office. Zach Abraham did not come in until right at the tail end of all this, right at the beginning of last year. But, Don Nickerson was there. Randy Wharton's been there for a long time. And, Greg works for them. And if he in fact did not inform them, that's bad on his part, and we all should expect better of anyone.
It's not my intent to be anti-Greg Stewart here. I don't mean it that way. I like Greg, nice guy. And I do think he always had the best interests of the Highlands at heart. But I have certainly heard quite clearly from several commissioners and others involved in this that in retrospect, what they have discovered is that Greg did a lot of things without approval or even without informing the commissioners or the development authority. And that has led, that's part of the reason why we have a what do they call it, chief financial officer or whatever they're calling him.
Right.
Providing closer oversight of the money and giving regular reports to the OCDA. Several of the county leaders have said to me that they discovered that Greg was, for better or ill, working on his own without really a lot of oversight or informing. And I think that's where, in the end, when the time came to give him a new position, after some of this stuff came to light, this thing in particular, as I understand it, they decided to not pursue it any further with Greg. Your intel story this morning says that the question was asked of Don Tennant, the county solicitor, if there might be any litigation against Stewart for doing this, and the answer was not at this time.
Right, correct.
So we'll see.
It's a fascinating story, though.
Yeah, and I encourage people to read it because the details of it are, and a lot of this is stuff that I've known and probably you have known for a while, John. I'm glad it finally became public.
Right.
But the details of this, the in, the out, the who said what to when and where and what was going to change hands and what did change hands and didn't, really interesting, and much of that is laid out in this story. Who wrote this? Jocelyn, I think?
Yeah, Jocelyn, correct.
Jocelyn King. So I really encourage people to read the story. Don't just listen to what John and I had to say, because we're kind of giving you the Tracy version of it. Read the whole thing. John, almost out of time, but real quick, let's stay with the county and the city. Anything positive do you think came from the meeting last week, this week, I guess it was?
Yeah, first positive, as we talked last week, is the fact that they met, that setting a new direction, new ideas, a new way of thinking about how the city and county work together. You know, I think coming out of that with at least kind of an understanding that maybe there's a joint lobbying effort that could take place in the legislature this year on the B&O tax, which, as we all know, is a regressive tax. It's not a tax that helps facilitate development for the most part. It's a tax on gross sales and not on so it's you're paying it no matter if you make money or not. So I think that that's one positive that came out. And again, I would hope, and I think given the people involved and the issues that have taken place over the years, this needs to be a quarterly meeting in my mind, maybe at least every 6 months. And if it's not always a full council and a full commission meeting, if I'm head of the county commission or if I'm the mayor, I'm telling my CEO, which is, Bob Heron or Randy Russell, every week I want you in contact in person with your counterpart in the county/city. And I want just a quick bullet point synopsis of what you talked about. Let's reopen those channels more than just talking about city-county building management issues, which is pretty much all they've been over the last 20 years.
It seems silly when you say that it needs to be put in that way because, all Bob Heron has to do is walk upstairs or Randy Russell walk downstairs.
Right, exactly.
It's not like they have to fly to Denver. So it would make communication easier. I need to run on, but I want to make one point. I am pleased to see them working together, and I agree with the effort to go to the state legislature to look for the B&O tax revision. I completely agree with that. Given what this legislature has been saying and doing about cities, I don't think they'll have much success.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree there.
Current legislature does not have a lot of interest in empowering cities. They're having an interest in taking power away from the cities. But more power to them. And I hope try. I think the city-county concept is right. I just hope they don't get their hopes up too high because I don't think the legislature is ready to do that. All right, John. Hey, this is our last time together before the end of the year. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Same to you, Howard. And I already gave it to Biff earlier. And so, and again, to all your listeners, have a great holiday season.
All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot, John. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, John. Bye-bye. John McCabe, the editor of the newspapers here on the Watchdog Morning Show. It's 8 before the hour. Let's go to another key management employee in the news world in the Ohio Valley, Bob Westfall at the Big Seven. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, Howard. How's it going this morning?
Good. Hey, can you help me with the question? Can you help me with the story that's on your website?
I can try.
You have a story about a fire at a homeless camp this morning. Is that the camp that was displaced this week, or is that a different one?
I am being told it's the same camp.
Okay, all right. I just wasn't clear. The picture looked like it was, but I wasn't totally sure. Okay, thank you.
I'm being told it was one small tent. Department of Highways has been called to check out the filler. My people on the scene said it was just the one small tent caught fire. That's what we know, and it is the same camp that was shut down earlier this week. So that is what we have. So we've got that. What are we working on today? We talked to Senator Capito yesterday. One of the pieces of legislation that did pass, she's quite proud of, working with Congressman McKinley. As you know, the situation with the VA hospitals, the tragic deaths, let's be honest, the murders of officers in those hospitals. Now they're going to put cameras. You would think that would have been standard procedure. So many other hospitals do. Yes. But apparently they had to have legislation passed. Senator Capito worked with David McKinley and Joe Manchin. That has now passed. That is going into law. We did get the press release from the White House as well on this. So we did talk to Senator Capito about that, what this means to protecting our men and women that have to go to VA hospitals in the future. So I like that story. Something good coming out of this legislature because everything else just seems like it's so much gridlock.
That's a good point. You're absolutely right.
We've got that. Also going to address, got a couple school districts addressing the TikTok threat. I don't know if you saw that. Apparently a threat originated on TikTok. possible warning of situations at schools across the country. State police in West Virginia put out a release. They have not found any credible threat here within the state, but it was enough for school districts in the area to put out statements. So we've had those. So we're going to talk to a local superintendent later today on what they're doing, maybe just in general when it comes to protecting the kids in this day and age.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier this morning. You know, it's hard to know what to do. There are so many false threats that are made anymore, pranks, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
Let's talk about WVU and the suicide note that was there a couple weeks ago. It turns out to have been apparently just a big joke.
Right.
So you know what to do. I mean, what do you do? How seriously do you take these things? You can't ignore them, but you know, there's so many. It's tough for school systems. Very tough for school systems.
Right. So we're going to talk to law enforcement. We're going to talk to a local school district, get their input on this. So we'll have that. Ashley at Kaiser is actually out right now working on that story as we speak. So we'll have that. Of course, Festival of Sounds tonight. That just to me is always the Christmas kickoff. I know Wheeling Symphony had their thing, so now it's Wheeling Park's turn. Festival of Sound is tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday, I do believe. So we will have that tonight as well. Of course, following the weather, it looks like it's a little cooler today. Maybe some rain later tonight. I know Aaron's been following that all day, so we'll have that. That's kind of what we're working on today, a little bit of quiet kind of situation. I do like this one story. It's out of Ohio. We're not working on it. Have you seen the video of the man that tackled this one guy, stole a purse of an 87-year-old woman? And a bystander, you've got to look at this video. I mean, he just throttled the guy. It's awesome. But anyway, apparently the guy took off. This guy stole a purse of an 87-year-old woman at a Kroger. A bystander saw it, chased the guy down, tackled him in the parking lot, got the purse back. I love that video. And, it's on our website right now. I just love it. I know everybody's got to talk.
Bystander. The bystander says, "Oh no, you don't."
That's exactly what he said, and he didn't. So I
love it. That's great.
That's a good one. So John's got that up on our website, so it's a good one. So that's kind of things we're working on, gearing up for Christmas. Just to let you know, our Catherine is working on our Christmas show. It's a great show. We shot up the mansion. Some really great packages from across the Ohio Valley. Memories and things like that. I think it airs the 23rd, 7 a.m. on ABC, Ohio Valley. And on Christmas Day, when you all are up at 6 a.m., I don't miss that as a dad, 6 a.m. on Christmas Day. It'll be on in My Ohio Valley. Then it'll play later that afternoon at 1:30 to 2:30. And it's really a good piece. We did some really nice stuff. Everybody kind of chipped in. We've got light shows. We've got a Columbiana County light show that Taylor Long did for us. Catherine, the Festival of Lights. We went down to Monroe County to that huge light show they have in Cameron, Ohio. And then there's just some really nice just memories. So I'm really looking forward to that show. So we got that coming up in 2 days. So I really like that.
Yeah, you guys do a lot of good local programming. I'd love to see television doing more of that.
Yeah.
Got to run. I will talk to you on Monday. Have yourself a great weekend, and we'll do the countdown to Christmas starting next week. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it.
Talk soon.
All right, coming up next, statewide talk line. Hoppy Kercheval is in. House Speaker Roger Hanshaw will be talking about the pay raise idea that Governor Justice proposed. WVEA President Dale Lee will be talking about that pay raise proposal as well. Stephen Baldwin, the Senate Minority Leader in West Virginia, along with other Democrats, have sent a letter to Patrick Morrissey asking that the AG investigate possible gasoline price gouging. And, of course, it is a Friday, so you know what that means, Biff.
Steam release.
Steam release. All coming up today, statewide talk line. As for me, good Lord willing, creeks don't rise, bat phone doesn't ring, don't get impeached, don't retire. And Teddy says, it's okay. You can go back to work on Monday, Granddad. I will be back Monday morning, 7 o'clock with a go-round of the big gig. Are you back with me, Biff?
Back Monday, ready for another week.
We'll keep on doing it till we get it right.
That could be a long time.
Indeed.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
The ABC News is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
ABC News.
All right, Biffy. Well, yeah, it wasn't as bad as yesterday. It wasn't great, but it wasn't as bad as yesterday. So we made it through. I thought John sounded okay. He was on his car phone, but I mean, I saw the note from Jerry complaining, but yeah, I thought so. Sometimes you just have to live with what you got. I knew he told me he was going to be driving back from Findlay, so I knew it was going to be a car deal. So, but I thought we got it. Okay. I don't think I have anything planned for Monday, but I have several things I'm working on, so we'll probably get something put together. Again, next week will be a pretty slow week. I've got a couple of guests, but otherwise it'll just be holiday stuff, whatever we can come up with. All right. Got any big plans for the weekend? Oh, that's right. Well, calm before the storm. When you get kids around the family, Christmas will be busy, I'm sure, so. And they'll want Uncle Biff to be playing and watching, I'm sure. But that's what, remember, Christmas is for children, which is why I enjoy it so much. All right, Biff, have a good weekend. If you need me, I'm around. No problem. Otherwise, I'll just talk to you on Monday. All right, thanks for your help, as always. Appreciate it. All right, bye.
Returns, the IRS is shifting gears and ramping up investigations on non-filers this year. If you failed to file your tax returns for a year or more, or you owe back taxes, now's the time to call Optima Tax Relief before the IRS finds you. Optima is America's #1 most trusted tax resolution firm, specialized in helping individuals, families, and businesses get right with the IRS. They're experts in the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, a powerful new program that can make resolving tax issues easier. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Optima's award-winning team has helped thousands of people protect their paychecks, bank accounts, homes, and businesses by putting their tax problems to rest, resolving over $1 billion in tax debts for their clients. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Early holiday travel is underway.
Hopper expects more than 2.2 million flying every day. Now, compared to last December, when vaccines were just rolling out, AAA says airlines will see a 184% increase in passengers. United Airlines expects more than double the customers.
That's ABC's Gio Benitez. Miss America celebrated its centennial, crowning a champion from the 49th state.
Miss America is Miss Alaska.
Emma Broyles from Anchorage, Alaska, brings home the first ever Miss America title to the 49th state. The beauty pageant marking its 100th anniversary at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut, that began in Atlantic City in 1921. The competition has evolved away from the emphasis on physical appearance with a new focus on leadership, talent, and communication skills. After a 2-year break due to the pandemic, Miss America was available only to stream this year via NBC's Peacock service. Todd Ant, ABC News.
Facebook owner Meta Platforms is going after surveillance companies, accusing 7 digital espionage services of targeting about 50,000 people. This move comes after Israeli spyware company NSO Group was blacklisted earlier this month. Its spyware was reportedly deployed by foreign governments against journalists and dissidents instead of terrorism suspects. This is a